Hello everyone, this is Katarzyna Dorosz, the CEO of the Institute of Longevity and Health, and my guest today is Dr. Sanjay Srivatsa, cardiologist from the Heart Artery Vein Center Clinic in California. Welcome, doctor.
Welcome, thank you. Thanks, a great pleasure to be here.
Of course, always. Can we stop lifestyle disease? What do you think is the main case of lifestyle disease, doctor?
Lifestyle diseases can be attributed to a mismatch. We have mismatched the way in which our bodies evolved and how we live today. Lifestyle diseases are things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, fatty liver, hypertension, and even cancers. Now, why do we think these things occur? They occur because of poor diet, inactivity, chronic stress, chronic sleep deprivation, and cycles of addiction. What do I mean by this? Well, think about ultra-processed foods for a start. They're high in sugar, they're high in certain seed oils and chemicals, and frequently now we find even our foods are contaminated with plastic nanoparticles from plastic packaging, which can damage our body.
Oh yeah, last studies show that the plastic is very unhealthy, but we don't avoid the plastic everywhere. Even if we go for grocery shopping, we have the plastic boxes. It's many countries just throw away the plastic boxes, and when you go to doing shopping, you need to have your bag. And but we are not in this area. I think we need to provide like more 5-10 years to educate the people.
It's true, but unfortunately we've contaminated our countryside and our nature with so much plastic refuse that is thrown into the oceans and landfills that it has now creeped into the water supply. It's not just a question of drinking water from plastic bottles or microwaving your food in plastic receptacles, but the very things we rely on, such as water and even air, is now being contaminated with plastic nanoparticles, which we have shown in many studies accumulate within the body, even within the arteries, within the brain, within the organs of the body.
But around us it's many plastic. Even our cover for iPhone, plastic. Cover for laptop, plastic. Everywhere. And we just have these habits.
Well, it's true, but let's focus on things that we can change, which is the consumption of ultra-processed foods that are high in sugar. A lot of fast food is very unhealthy for us. It either involves the consumption of vast amounts of meat, particularly red meat, foods that are high in sugar, oil, and less in roughage.
What is the healthy red meat? We don't avoid, many people love meat. I am vegetarian, but many people love to eat red meat. How many times a week the red meat will be healthy for patient?
I don't think anybody has an answer in terms of number of times a week. Less is more. And if we are to consume red meat, it should be on rare occasions, not on routine basis. On the other hand, if we like meat, perhaps there are better alternatives, white meat like chicken and turkey. In the end, fish, which is not considered a meat, but is nevertheless classified in the non-vegetarian menu, would be a good solution. The oily fishes are particularly heart healthy, but I would hasten to add these should be grilled and not deep fried. For example, salmon, tuna, these kind of fishes. The oils that seem to emanate from these are rich in omega-3s, which actually help us. Please do not consume fish oil. It is a toxin. Most fish oil capsules are not just ineffective, they carry metal toxins and are unpurified. I caution against this. We do use in therapeutic cardiovascular care omega-3s, but we use highly purified 99% toxin-free EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, for the treatment of heart disease and certain lipid disorders such as high triglycerides. Now let's change the subject to activity. We've talked about this before on this show. We sit too much and move too little, and we have advised aerobic, presumably non-excessively weight-bearing or traumatic exercise. The constant pounding of our knees on jogging treadmills or running vast distances on concrete pathways can leave a toll on our knees and backs. On the other hand, semi-weight bearing exercise such as stationary bikes, ellipticals, swimming, these are all activities which are excellent aerobic activities with not much trauma to the body. The chronic stress issue, we have emphasized this before. We are all wired for survival, but we are not innately born to survive 24/7 email, constant texts, and the need to respond to our bosses and others with constant emails and text messages. Chronic stress can build because of the impetus to always reply. Sleep deprivation is really underrated and has become an epidemic in modern life, both because we work longer under constant stress and because it has become so difficult to sleep under current modern lifestyles.
We're in discussion about sleep, doctor. We have a routine to wake up every morning and drink coffee, but we don't develop a routine and habits before we go to sleep to close the laptop 1 hour minimum before, close our phone, and just prepare. Then when we go sleep, this is the habits when we prepare to our body and mind to recover.
Yes, I think there's a lot of research done on this. We need not only a boot up mechanism, but a wind down mechanism at the end of the day. I think stopping stimulation to the brain and the eyes, spending a time to contemplate and meditate, to have a noise-free environment or sometimes music can all help. Each person has a different formula to wind down and ultimately sleep. The use of medications and alcohol to sleep is not advised. Now, as far as addiction cycles go, we have to be aware that addictions come in all varieties. They're not just addiction to recreational drugs, but also fast food, nicotine in the form of tobacco or otherwise, alcohol, marijuana, and even social media can represent an addiction which can lead us into trouble. We need moderation in all these things as ever, and these diseases that arise from lifestyle are potentially preventable and often man-made.
It's true, our addiction, we need to change the role. And my question is, what's role do media and education play in this?
Well, media and education program us to behave, so it's a massive role. Media can promote good lifestyles or promote junk lifestyles. They can educate, they can empower, or they can promote the wrong idea. Marketing teaches children that fast food and energy drinks are cool. It wasn't that long ago when children were exposed to ads which potentially could have encouraged them to think that smoking was cool. Those things were removed in certain countries, including ours, in order that children not be influenced to think that smoking was cool. This has really helped, but the rise of stress in the modern lifestyle has resulted in people who wouldn't otherwise smoke taking up smoking or even drinking, and that currently includes the women in the workforce because they're increasingly facing both domestic and work stress. So social media influences what we eat, how we see ourselves, how we perceive ourselves, and what we think is cool. If you don't believe me, look at some of the shows in the 50s and the 60s. It isn't uncommon to see Ricky Ricardo or Lucy light a cigarette right on the show. Now, we need to treat health literacy like a core subject at school. We teach our children ethics and the need to work hard and study and do their homework, but we rarely treat health literacy as a core subject which potentially, if taught at school, could overcome some of the media influences which are bad. I would greatly emphasize this educational opportunity for children.
Yes, the role created from media, it's very bad. We create then the longevity and anti-aging, the Botox is the most important, then our heart and our spirits. And the education, what you say, in school need to really change to promote the healthy life. But I believe that the first step for all children and all of us is the family, our home when we grow up. And this is the role of parents to teach the children, eat healthy, be prepared to go to sleep early without TV, without iPhone. Don't take the iPhone to your room. And the education starts from the early age. And I also believe then we change in pandemic time. And how do you think then the pandemic changed our approach to health?
Well, it did hugely. As you know, we all went into isolation during the pandemic. And for better or worse, we had to live with the consequences. For one thing, people had more time to contemplate their lifestyle and their living conditions and the link between their lifestyles and their health. There was much more focus on prevention, preventing not only COVID, but preventing other lifestyle diseases, and the importance of remote care and mental well-being were all given attention. On the other hand, being physically forced to isolate and under lockdown led to a whole variety of adverse health consequences. For one thing, people gained weight through inactivity, through use and misuse of alcohol, and they developed mental health issues from isolation, including anger and depression. They developed new addictions, including addictions to alcohol, tobacco, drugs. All of this may have been born out of boredom or isolation or fear even. All of these escalated the worst tendencies for us. The bottom line is that the pandemic was a wake-up call, but unfortunately, whether some of us awoke to the call was a different matter. There is also the issue of complete isolation in promoting children's health and well-being, and that all suffered during the pandemic, not just because they couldn't be educated in the normal way, but they were also exposed to all these bad habits at home, not to mention the issue of lifestyle, food, and exercise.
The pandemic showed then we are not prepared to change our life, but also the pandemic showed, and I doing research about last 10 pandemic in the world, from 19 Centauri to 3 years ago, to pandemic with COVID-19. We just learn how to take care from ourselves. And I think in this time we learn how to more focus for our healthy food, our exercises, to prepare and wait, because we don't know where we go, we don't know what's happening next day. But like you say, many people who is isolated develop the mental problem, and now we need time to recover. Also, for these 2 years, people don't go and check the prostate cancer, and women don't go to check the breast cancer. And this is also the problem. Then for 2 years, many people develop some unhealthy issue, and now we need to come back to check everything. What's mean the education is very important, but I think and I believe that our stronger life to be prepared physically, mentally, every day to call to the action, and if we want to live healthy and longer, we need to work every day. This is the job. This is not just pleasure.
And that is a responsibility for physicians as much as it was a responsibility for government and individuals. During the pandemic, due to forced isolation, a lot of follow-up was lost. Clinics closed. The only follow-up that was done was through telemedicine. I will tell you as a physician that telemedicine is a poor substitute for meeting the patient, confronting them and examining them. The whole point about being a physician is to lay hands on your patient, and you can't hardly do that or examine them or even investigate them if they're not at the clinic with you. We did not close our clinic for that reason during the pandemic. We visited with all patients face to face, and only where there was no alternative by telemedicine. So if every human ate real food, moved daily, did some form of aerobic exercise, slept well, managed stress, well, then 80% of our chronic disease would be eliminated. Even smallest changes by individuals or across populations can make massive differences. And so absolutely we can do a lot to change our lives. So we must make sure that as a society, healthy food is affordable to everyone and accessible. The cities should be walkable, and there should be park areas and bike-friendly areas for exercise. School lunches, as we know, should nourish, not just fill. And we need to change the way we think about our life as a society and educate our children before they become adults to do the same. So, we can use our media for good, and I'm hoping that this program and others will help spread the good news that health is not just about what was predestined by your genetics. It can also be achieved by all of us together working as a team.
And how many years of work in the medical society, doctor, you have?
I've been a physician now for over 30 years. And
Great.
during that time, it has been my privilege to serve as best I can. I have learnt more than I have perhaps instructed others, but hopefully some of the key messages that we have gone over today will help everyone, including myself.
Well. And your last advice to make society to be healthy? You said in education, and education in school, in home, etc. But 3 advices for us to be healthy.
First, don't accept that lifestyle disease, death, or aging is inevitable. There are signals that you should improve certain things in your life, whether it's your blood pressure, your weight, your sugar, whatever it might be. You can change the trajectory of your life. Start with simple things. Start to eat better. Start to sleep more. Start to reduce stress. Start to exercise more. Try to avoid the things that lead you in the wrong direction. Remember, every journey starts with a small step. Choose to do something, but do it tomorrow and do it regularly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and I believe that our audience also appreciate your advice, and we will be in touch with everything what you say, doctor. Thank you so much, and see you soon in next podcast. It's a pleasure to have you and talk to you always. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.